You are Locked On Pistons POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Detroit, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Pistons winning streak comes to an end at the hands of the Golden State Warriors. 107-104 final score in this one in an entertaining game of runs. The winning streak comes to an end, as I mentioned, so we'll break that down. Fourth quarter run for the Warriors, fourth quarter run for the Pistons, some missed free throws, a look at the end from Malik Beasley. We'll get the game summary and, of course, wrap it up with our studs and duds. My name is Jake Reitman. It's a Locked On Live Pistons postcast. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Reitma. And this is Locked On Sports Detroit. And we thank you for making us your first listen following the final whistle of whatever game you're watching, whether it's a Lions game, Pistons game, Tigers, or Michigan Wolverines. We've got it all covered on Locked On Sports Detroit. On the post-game side of things, as always, appreciate you making us a part of your post-game destination. And don't forget, your favorite podcast has a newsletter. That's right, we're introducing the new Locked On Pistons daily newsletter. It's your one-stop for ultimate team and league coverage, and it's delivered right to your inbox. How about that, sports fans? Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com, and start your day with the all-new free Locked On Pistons newsletter. While you're at it, go ahead and subscribe to Locked On Sports Detroit. I know a lot of people listen without subscribing. If you subscribe, it helps us out a great deal. And shout out to those that have subscribed. It makes a huge difference. Go ahead and like today's video as well. And speaking of today's video, this episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. That's Locked On NBA for $20 off your first purchase. Now, as always, we welcome your comments on the Locked On Pistons postcast. But first and foremost, when you see the way the Pistons played tonight, it was one of those frustrating games that felt like Golden State was getting a lot of the loose balls, and it felt like this game was there for the taking. I mean, Detroit as a team did a tremendous job defensively against Steph Curry. Obviously, the prolific three-point shooter that he is, just 2 of 14 from the three-point line, 5 of 21 from the field altogether, but the role players for the Warriors step up. Tremendous game from Buddy Hield, and he has really been struggling, so I'm sure Warriors fans happy to see him net 19 points, including 5 triples. On the other side, though, for the Pistons, Cade Cunningham, an incredible effort once again from the leader of this team, 32 points in 40 minutes to go along with 12 of 21 from the floor, 3 of 6 shooting, and 5 of 8 from the stripe. But a couple of missed free throws, not necessarily by just Cade Cunningham, because, of course, Cade Cunningham's intentional miss is why the Pistons even had a shot at the end of this game. And I think Greg Kessler said it best. Malik Beasley, who was, of course, that's who you want taking the shot when you're down 3, but he got a good look at it, but I think he could have gotten a great look had he received the inbounds pass, pump faked, and then would have been able to easily evade Draymond Green, who was selling out. And if you do the pump fake there, you still have plenty of time to rise up and hit a triple. Now, hindsight's 20/20 on that. I know I wasn't out there. I'm not the one making those moves. It's Malik Beasley, and he got a good look and nearly got it to go, but did not fall. So the Warriors hold on for the 107-104 win. Some other notes I made: you got to give the Pistons a lot of credit because they were down big in that fourth quarter after a Warriors run, and we'll get to that Warriors run in a moment. But the Pistons went on an 18-4 run, some clutch three-pointers from Cade Cunningham, some clutch defensive stands, and Malik Beasley with a nice dunk to get the Pistons within 4, and it felt like it was just fluttering between that 4. It was always a 2-possession game until finally the Pistons were able to work some late game magic with that intentional miss from Cade Cunningham, and eventually down by just 3. Although I think the inadvertent whistle really cost the Pistons because Cade Cunningham intentionally misses that free throw, kicks it out to Fontecchio, and the whistle had already blown. So obviously Fontecchio's not in rhythm to rise up and hit a shot from the perimeter. But if that play plays out without the officials stopping it dead with the whistle, you feel like Fontecchio in a rhythm on an offensive board has a pretty good shot at knocking that down and tying it up with a three. But like I said, nonetheless, the Pistons come up short. The winning streak ends, and this was a night the Pistons didn't play their best, but in previous years and even earlier this season, it was a night where if the Pistons didn't play their best like tonight, then they're getting run out of the gym. They're losing by 20 points, and that just didn't happen tonight. They hung around. They were playing catch up all night. It felt like it was tinkering between a double-digit lead, then down to about 8 and back and forth, and credit the Pistons for hanging tough and eventually getting it down to a one-possession game to try to win it try to tie it rather with the three at the buzzer. JB Bickerstaff said just now post-game's proud of them. This is one of those games that you go through where you learn a lot about your team and you're better for it on the other end. And there's no such thing as moral victories. We certainly don't believe that. I know nobody in the comments believes that. But tonight was, even though it was a loss and the winning streak ends and Golden State hadn't been playing necessarily a great brand of basketball, it's still a step, not necessarily a monumental step by any means. Nobody is out here singing the praises of the Detroit Pistons after tonight, but there was some character being shown and there was some heart. Now, the Golden State Warriors went on a run of their own. And what sparked that run? Oh, what do you know? An Isaiah Stewart technical. And I already got people hitting me on Twitter saying I'm a hater, but it's the same thing every game. Isaiah Stewart gets a technical for no reason. I mean, he wasn't even involved in this play. It was Ron Holland and Draymond Green. And Draymond Green's going to do that. He's been doing it in the National Basketball Association for his entire career. He is one of the best aggregators or aggravators, whatever A word you want to use, maybe a different A word that actually has a hole attached to it. You know what I'm saying? But Draymond Green does that. And Ron Holland and Isaiah Stewart both fell for it. And that's part of his game. He gets under their skin, and the Warriors compile after that a 10-0 run at one point, I think, all the way to a 16-2 run, if I check my notes correctly, after that technical foul. And Draymond Green was a big part of it. And defensively, he baited Holland into committing an offensive foul. He set the charge. And look, I'm not a Draymond Green fan. I know a lot of people might be for his time at Michigan State. Went to Saginaw High right by me where I grew up. I can remember watching him in high school. And it's just part of his game. And to his credit, he executed that component of his game and got Ron Holland out of his game. And Ron Holland played really well up until then. I mean, Ron Holland made some three-pointers even in this one. He provided that spark. He was very, very energetic and a boost for this team, but definitely was thrown off by Draymond Green at that point with the little scuffle that was part of that Warrior run in the early portion of the fourth quarter. Now, I say all that, and again, this Pistons team could have gone away. They didn't, so credit to them on that. Now, that being said, we're going to continue to break this one down. We'll have our studs and duds coming up at the end of the program as well, and then look at the upcoming schedules. Don't go anywhere. Pistons lose to the Golden State Warriors, 107-104. The 5-game win streak comes to an end. It's the first loss of the calendar year in 2025. Don't go anywhere. Your comments are next as we continue on a live Locked On Pistons postcast here on Locked On Sports Detroit. This episode of the Locked On Pistons postcast is brought to you by Game Time. It's the best ticketing app in the world. It takes the guesswork out of buying tickets to live events, and now is the time to get to live events. Winter is here. The Pistons are playing a great brand of basketball. The Lions have home field advantage throughout the course of the NFL playoffs, and maybe it's not even a sporting event. Maybe you want to get to a concert or the theater or a comedy show, whatever it is, you got to use Game Time, because Game Time has made it even easier than ever to get tickets to your favorite events. And the new feature, the Game Time Picks. How about this, my friends? The feature filters out the fluff so you only see the incredible deals on great seats. You don't have to waste any of that precious time searching thousands and thousands of tickets. I've used the Game Time app many times in my life, most recently for that Monday Night Football game in San Francisco. And what I love about the Game Time app, that maybe not everybody likes this, but hey, it's my favorite part. It's the all-in pricing feature. You just toggle this in the app, and it gives you the bottom line without any surprise fees, so you know exactly what you're paying, because there's nothing worse than thinking, hey, I got a great deal, and you go to check out fee. No, there's none of that with the all-in pricing feature. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDON-NBA. Locked On NBA, Locked On NBA. You get the point. Locked On NBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create that account. Redeem the code LOCKEDON NBA. That's a Locked On NBA for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. And I ask, what time is it? It's game time. This episode of the Locked On Pistons Postcast is also brought to you by Rocket RX. That's right. Today's episode being made possible by Rocket RX. If you're ready to boost your confidence and take control in the bedroom, Rocket RX has the solution. Imagine feeling more prepared and performing at your best. Rocket RX makes it simple and stress-free. Rocket RX offers FDA-approved treatments for ED at a lower cost than branded alternatives. No more uncomfortable doctor visits or pharmacy trips. Everything is delivered straight to your door in discreet, plain packaging. And with Rocket RX, you'll get trusted care from a real U.S. clinical team. Complete a quick 100% online consultation, and you could get your free prescriptions today. Visit rocketrx.com to get started now. It only takes 2 minutes. Right now, our listeners can get 40% off your first order when you use code LOCKEDONNBA, LOCKEDONNBA, LOCKEDONNBA. That's rocketrx.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for 40% off your first order. Terms and conditions apply. Rocket RX, better sex made simple. Pistons fall to the Warriors. The winning streak ends, and our exciting post-game shows that we're on a 5-game win streak. Now we have to go back to one of the postcasts with the losing side attached to it. And hey, the numbers reflect. I see you, front-runner Piston fans. You only tune in when the Pistons win. Well, you know what? We got a lot to talk about, even if they didn't win, like tonight. And that's all right. They're going to bounce back on Saturday against the Toronto Raptors. But I promised we'd get to the comments, so that's what's up next. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights checks in, and Demetrius McNeil says, bad luck to end the winning streak. Jake, you said it. Loose balls for the Warriors, the difference in the game. It really did feel like that. Every loose ball the Warriors came up with, and it was 50-50 balls, whatever terminology you want to put to. And again, this is where it creeps in. I heard the broadcast talk about it. Even JB Bickerstaff referenced it. You know, it's the second night of a back-to-back. And I just, deep sigh. One of my least favorite terms in sports. I get it. They didn't get back till late last night. You got the Warriors waiting for them, and they played in Brooklyn last night. But that's why you're a professional athlete that gets paid a lot of money. Go win a back-to-back. It's not unheard of. It's not impossible. And even though the Pistons showed a lot of good fight, I don't think it was the stamina. I don't think it was, fading late. In fact, you could make the argument that if this game would have kept going a little bit longer, it was longer than 48 minutes, then maybe the Pistons win this one because they were the better team down the stretch in the fourth quarter. Just it was that run that the Warriors put together early in the fourth quarter, fueled by the Isaiah Stewart technical foul that gave them enough of a cushion to, ultimately outlast and preserve the win. But that being said, it's part of the schedule. Everybody goes through it in the NBA, and the Pistons fall back to 500 at 19-19. And I guess this is where the Pistons are. They are a 500 basketball team because they're 19-19 overall, and they are 9-9 at home and 10-10 on the road. So everywhere, everything's easy, just like that. It's easy. It's exactly what you would expect from the Detroit Pistons as a 500 team. Everybody is 500. So you're 500 at home, you're 500 on the road, and you're 500 overall. But That being said, some other notable performances tonight. I thought Azar Thompson is good to have him back in the lineup. No Jaden Ivey tonight, really hurt. No Tim Hardaway Jr. hurt. Could have used a little bit of firepower, and obviously got to get used to the no Jaden Ivey with him being out for an extended period of time. And perhaps that could lead to the Pistons doing something about it at the deadline and bringing somebody in. Not that I'm hearing anything specific, but it's always worth the conversation. Beasley, another volume shooting night for Malik Beasley, 4 of 14 from the long line, 8 of 21 overall. He did score 21 points, and he was completely even for the night for the plus minus category. So not a plus, not a minus, just right at even. Jalen Duren had some moments, 12 rebounds, which you like, but I was talking with a buddy just what this team lacks sometimes, and I think it's the defensive edge from the interior at the center position. I know we don't have positions in the NBA anymore, but combined with Duren and Stewart, there's just not a lot there to strike fear in the opposition. And I'm not just talking about their ability to score the basketball, but rotationally. And there was a couple of times where Cade was wrong on the rotation or slow on the rotation, gave up the 1-3. I forget who took it for the Warriors, but he was late rotating over, and it was kind of a back-breaking 3. So nobody's perfect on this team, and there's a lot of areas to improve, but rotationally, defensively, I thought this could have been a time, or there were some instances where the Pistons weren't exceptional on that front yet tonight. Some other notes that I noticed as far as just observations with this one. The Warriors got a lot of easy layups when they were at their best. And again, it goes back to their inability, the Pistons rather. It was simple things like a slip screen. And even though the Pistons really defended Steph Curry well, the fact that other guys were getting easy baskets kind of felt like the Achilles heel throughout the course of tonight. So that being said, you hope that those areas will be improved for the Pistons moving forward. But hey, Warriors, they had been struggling as a team. Pistons, they had gotten above 500. They get back in the win column. Both these teams, I should say the Warriors now 19-18, so one game over 500, and the Pistons 19-19. Obviously, an Eastern Conference team versus Western Conference team, there's a little bit of difference there, but you get the idea. So Pistons fall to the Warriors, and we will have our studs and duds when we come back, and we'll also look ahead to the upcoming schedule for the Detroit Pistons. Don't go anywhere. We continue on a live Locked On Pistons postcast in just a moment. This episode of the Locked On Pistons postcast is brought to you by the Ultimate GM, the ultimate college basketball head coach, my friends. And listen, this is a little bit unique, so listen up and listen good. I want to take a moment to introduce you to a brand new mobile game that I love and I'm super excited about. It's the Ultimate College Basketball HC. If you've ever dreamed of being a college basketball head coach, this is your chance to step into those shoes. In Ultimate College Basketball, you control every detail of your program. That includes recruiting players, hiring coaching staffs, and overseeing training camps, handling NIL deals, and managing scholarships. It's all in your hands. Sounds like a lot, right? A lot of fun. When it comes to game time, you get to draw up offensive plays and set up your strategy. That way, you play won't just affect the current season, it will also shape the future of your school's basketball program. It's a game that lets you feel the full weight of what it means to be a head coach and lead your team to glory. Here's a special offer for you, Locked On NBA listeners. Use promo code Locked On NBA CBB. That's LOCKEDON CBB. All caps in the game store to get a free boost for your program. That's Locked On CBB. It's the perfect way to kickstart your coaching career. To download Ultimate College Basketball HC, just visit ultimate-cbb.com or look it up on the app stores. Ultimate College Basketball HC. Begin your coaching legacy today. Cruising right along on a Locked On Pistons postcast. even though Detroit falls to the Golden State Warriors 107-104, back to the 500 mark, 19-19 on the season. Up next, of course, it's back at home against the Toronto Raptors, a chance to continue the winning ways against the Raptors. And after that, the Pistons then hit the road to take on the New York Knicks. That's a Monday night game, tip off at 7:30, and then back home for 2 games in a row, one against the Pacers on Thursday, and then the Suns come to town on Saturday. So that's the immediate look ahead for the Detroit Pistons. Some winnable games there. That showdown against the Knicks will be fun to see what the Pistons are made of and how they stack up against one of the upper echelon teams in the National Basketball Association. The Pistons have had success against the Pacers and the Raptors, so hopefully they can continue those winning ways as well. Remember that awesome road trip out west for the Detroit Pistons, where they won 3 of 4, began with a win over the Suns. It was a win over the Suns, followed by a win over the Lakers, and then that last second 4-point play by Jaden Ivey in the win over the Kings. Those were the 3 wins they had in a row out west. So that will be an interesting rematch on Saturday, January the 18th. But most recently, coming up soonest, I should say, Saturday, January the 11th. That's coming right up when the Pistons are back in action at home against the Raptors. So lots of good stuff, and time now to get into our studs and duds after tonight's game. And nothing too glaring, so I guess maybe it's just I'll let it out, and I'll feel better if I go ahead and start with this, because Isaiah Stewart just throwing up bricks, a dud, and we just can't keep making excuses for this guy. And I see my Twitter blowing up already. I'm sure more people are tweeting at me and saying I'm a hater of Isaiah Stewart, but it's technical foul, it's bad shots, it's lack of defense, and yeah, the effort's there, sure, and you can say he embodies the mindset of this team. I don't really think he does. In any case, I just think he hurts the team, and the way he plays, it just leaves so much out there to be desired as far as other impactful plays that he makes in a good way for this team. And it's not just scoring, but what does Isaiah Stewart bring to this team as an undersized center? He was minus 16 tonight. I mean, at 4 points, 5 rebounds, 2 of 5 from the floor in 17 minutes. Again, in the technical foul, I mean, yeah, it's not personal, but in today's landscape, the way the game of basketball works, it just doesn't add any value. And for whatever reason, so many guys have chosen to back this guy, and I'm just not there. My stud, Cade Cunningham, of course, it's Cade, 32 points, plus 9, and really good again, 12 of 21, 8 assists. Like what you saw from him. He wills this team, gives them a chance. Can improve the defense, though. I will add that. I think he could improve the defense. And I'm going to give some love to Jalen Duren. The 12 boards, he was plus 13. I think he could still – Jalen Duren's he's a guy that would benefit if his other front court counterparts were better. And maybe it's taking something away from him and how good he actually is. But I want to see more from Jalen Duren. And he had the big and one down the stretch. He had some important buckets, but anytime you get 12 rebounds, and like I said, he was plus 13, so he had an impact on this game for the Detroit Pistons. Other duds, I don't think there's anything necessarily that jumps out. Simone Fontecchio is kind of a no-show tonight, just 3 points, 1 of 7 from the floor, 1 of 4 from the long line. Didn't really help this squad too much by any means. Ron Holland was a stud until he got eaten alive a little bit there in the latter portion of that third quarter and into the fourth quarter with the way that but that being said, I thought he was impactful early in this one. So some to be encouraged by there. But all in all, listen, these nights are going to happen. Playing catch up, playing from behind the entire night. Got a chance for it to be a one-possession game. Got a look at a 3 from your best three-point shooter, or at least the guy you probably want the ball in his hands, and it didn't go. But that's not to say this is one of those lost cause games, but you came up on the short end of it, and you look to bounce back. That's why you get 82 of these. So you missed Jaden Ivey tonight. There's no doubt about it. Tim Hardaway Jr. as well. but time to bounce back for the Pistons, and that starts Saturday night against the Toronto Raptors. So thanks so much for tuning in. As always, it's a pleasure. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Reed. A busy day for me today. I was on a couple of different shows, which follow me on Twitter and Instagram, whatever it is, pumping out content non-stop. Make sure you check out Locked On Pistons with Koo, Locked On Lions with Matt Derry, Locked On Tigers with Scott Bentley, Locked On Wolverines with Isaiah Hole, and go ahead and sign up for the newsletter on LockedOnDaily.com. Locked On Pistons, your favorite podcast, has a newsletter. And once again, that's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Pistons newsletter. Until next time, my friends, have a wonderful night. Thanks for watching on Locked On Sports Detroit. See you.